Well, there was no reaction from James McCormick as that sentence was handed down, but Judge Richard Hone said that this was one of the most serious cases of fraud that he had ever seen, and he felt justified in giving McCormick the maximum sentence of 10 years. He said that his actions had probably contributed to the death or serious injury of innocent individuals around the world. Well, joining me now is Detective Superintendent Nigel Rock, who was the lead investigator in this case. Detective Superintendent, damning remarks from the judge. I mean, he couldn't have made it clearer how he felt about this case and about James McCormick.
Absolutely, and that's something that over a 3.5-year investigation, Avon and Somerset have been able to collect that evidence, first of all to enable the jury to properly convict McCormick, and then for the judge to realise the full seriousness of McCormick's fraud.
I mean, could you quite believe what you were dealing with when this investigation started? You know, this was a man effectively selling bits of plastic as fake bomb detectors for millions of pounds around the world.
It is hard to believe, but McCormick is a practised con man. He's developed, he's refined, he's practised this fraud, this con, for over 10 years, and he was good at it. And that's the reality of it. He is a con man who's developed a good con over a number of years.
Now, what about his assets? We'd heard during the trial, you know, he'd bought the house of the actor Nicolas Cage in Bath, he had a yacht, his daughter had dressage horses. Are you going to be able to get your hands on any of that money?
Yes, a lot of that is already restrained, but now the focus of Avon and Somerset Police is to make sure that all of those assets, every single penny of it, if we can find it, will be taken from him.
You know, what's the timescale on that? You know, how are you physically going to be able to do that? I mean, presumably some of it might not be in his name, or money could have been laundered elsewhere.
Well, we've already got a lot of information. Obviously, a 3.5-year investigation will gather, you know, many items of relevance to that confiscation. But now the focus is to get all that before the court in 12 months' time and make sure McCormick's assets are taken from him.
Do you feel confident that a trick, a fraud like this couldn't happen again? I mean, it seemed quite easy for him to play the great travelling salesman and sell these devices on. Do you think people, the authorities, are now more in tune to this kind of activity?
Yes, I think they are, and I think many lessons will have been learned from the results of this investigation. You know, but McCormick callously targeted countries that were troubled, and he took advantage of that situation.
Detective Superintendent, thank you very much. So as we said earlier, James McCormick handed the maximum sentence here of 10 years. He will serve 5 years of that sentence in jail and 5 years of it on licence.